Hello, my peeps. I don't think I'm live yet. Let me know if I am. It's taking its time. Oh, I think we're live. Just gonna double check one thing because it's one of, there we go. Okay, it's one of those days, right? My computer is playing April Fool's tricks on me. There we go. That's how I know if I'm live or not. I gotta just tap, tap, tap. Okay. Hello, my peeps. Happy April Fool's Day. I think my computer decided that was its April Fool's Day trick, was it was going to not work. And then it decided, just kidding, I'll work. Oi, 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 is what I say. It's Tracey here. It is the 1st of April of 2025. It is Tuesdays with Tracey. I am a Stampin' Demonstrator and the paper pusher, and I am happy to be here today, mostly because my brain did not explode in the process of getting ready for this video. And because I just love hanging out with you guys. So excuse me while I really quickly punch a few flowers to see if they're going to work. So I left my board like this intentionally because this is how things go with me sometimes. I get excited about something and and off I go. So I had seen this really cool, I can't even show you them because none of them are finished because they're in pieces for a reason. I had seen this really cool card with a cross on it. And I thought some people are going to want to cut this cross for Easter. And then I was going to make it. But in the interim time, I saw another card that looked super cool and slightly different. I'm like, ooh, we're going to make those two cards. So I started down the road to make them. Well, the second card turned out to be a lot more complicated than I thought. Not complicated, just a lot more pieces. So by the time I was done, this is what I was doing. I'm writing all over the place. And I had all these pieces laid out all around here. By the time I was like in the process of making the cards, I had nowhere left to work. So I thought this is kind of funny, but I do love I'll move it now because it's just going to make a mess of everything. I do love this. I didn't think I was going to like this glass mat. I think I said that before. I was like, no, it's going to be in my way. It's, I love this thing. And one of my favorite parts of this thing is that I could write on it. And then I take a picture. So all that I just erased, I have a picture of on my phone. So not to worry. But yeah, I had worked myself out of a space. And the math, oh my God, the math. At one point, I cut my one piece of paper 5.5 instead of, or it's supposed to be 5.5. I cut it 5.25. So then every measurement I had is like coming up wrong. And I'm like, no, it doesn't make any sense. Then I realized it's my mistake. So then I had to adjust for just that 1/2 because the other half that I'm going to show you is actually going to be at 5. Anyway, so I thought, oh my God, I better start getting ready. I better get all my stuff. So I was trying to get my little papers ready. And as I'm looking for these papers, lo and behold, if I don't find this, and I'm like, oh my God, that's all the measurements for the second card. But it's not actually, but there's a sneak peek for you because the second card looks somewhat like this. But this card doesn't have the same measurements or anything. And I think this is an easier version of the card I saw. So I think I may have seen this card, and then I saw one very similar to it, which is the one I went to because I'm like, I think I saw a YouTube video. The first one, I don't even know where I saw, frankly, or who did it. So we're going to make 2 of those cards today, maybe even the third one, which I have 0 prepped for. So we'll see how much time is ready at the end. Otherwise, I might just make it like in a couple days and do like just a separate little video on the third one. There's just cards and cards. Anyways, I stayed up late so I could order my new kits because I don't like to wait, and they're awesome. And I want to see if one is worth it, might be doable for like an event. So I was there at midnight. Boom! I ordered my 3 kits. 8:02 this morning. I get your order is on its way, and I'm like, yes. So there's a good chance I'll have it right like at the beginning of next week, so I can really quickly put one of them together, or at least start to, so I can see if it's doable. The other ones, they're going to be awesome. Anyways, I'm going to try to go through this. I'm just going to tell you some stuff. Okay, we got all this stuff going on, right? So I post this in my newsletter now. And once again, I forgot to post it to Facebook. Darn it. What is the time I'm going to remember? gotta make a better checklist for my week. But so I got some stuff going on. I posted the mission Monday. I don't want to leave time for the kits. I got the new kits, so this is the one I want to see how it goes together. It says you need a glue gun. I want to see if you really do, because the last one, the wreath one, said a glue gun. I put the whole thing together with Tear and tape. This one, what is this one called? Essential Occasions, is 6 different designs, and it looks awesome. This one is another one of those ones where the pictures just don't do it justice. It's a really pretty kit, and it's got, I think it's petal pink, yeah, because that's petal pink around the edge. I usually pick the like the border, either the ink spot or on a no Stampin kit, it's just sort of one of the predominant colors. So it's got petal pink and soft seafoam, which are really like subtle colors on white, and these are really pretty cards. They just don't photograph. At any point now, because you know it's going to happen right in the middle. My pre-order is going to arrive that I ordered last week with the catalogs and everything. I did the comparison. It's all good. All these things that I had at the end that were like, whoo, those don't show up in the new catalog. Well, they posted the retirement or the last chance list last night, and I can see that all of these things don't have the word last chance. So this means these are all going to go from catalog to online exclusive. So that was awesome. There's an album retreat coming up, scrapbooking one this summer. It has a hefty price tag of $340. So if this interests you at all, start saving. The end of May, I want to say sometime. We can start marketing on the 28th. Oh, there we go. On the 28th of May, you can start buying the pieces for this kit. This is a 3-day virtual retreat that goes the 16th to the 18th of July. This is all I have. I have this small little picture. But what I do know is by the time you're done, you will have 12 2-page layouts, one for each month. So this one you can sort of see is March, right? It says March. The way they were doing these kits, and we're not 100% sure, but the way they sort of told us about it when they first said, hey, we're coming back with scrapbooking stuff, is this kit will have all the papers, everything you need to make the layouts, plus any embellishments, I think. Plus, it should have a bundle in it. So it should have a stamp set and dies, plus some die cuts and stuff. So this is a big thing. And I'm trying to figure out if I can get the dog situation under control. I might host this in my house, in my garage, to be quite honest. But you can use the bathroom in the house, and we'll have the kitchen available for coffee and stuff. Because this is like a 3-day thing, 8 hours a day. Now, probably, no, I mean, I could scrapbook or craft or anything 8 hours a day every day, because I almost do that anyways. But where you could just sort of pop in and out, work on your stuff, leave it in between if you have to go, and just have it live on the big screen. I have great reception in my garage because my garage is 3 feet from the router, right? The access point. So it's got great. Anyway, I will have more information, but that's a good thing to start. You're into scrapbooking, you want to have a 12-month. Oh, yeah. And even if you don't want the scrapbook, just think of the gift potential of that. Okay, so here's the big one coming up. The 11th of April. This is next Friday. It's kind of an open house / card making. And I've got it set up that you can do both. The cards are designed so you can do both. The open house. There's lots of new stuff coming up. There's new Stampin' Rewards programs. There's all of these things. I want to be able to just sit and chat with you while you guys are crafting and looking at stuff so we can talk about some of these things. So the more people that can come to this, the better. Otherwise, you're all just going to get it in newsletters and secondhand, which is not the best. But I would much, much rather have a conversation so you guys can have input on things. This kit together at the end of the month, April. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have, I think, 6 brand new kits to use. I will have the April kit. I will have the 3 kits that I just showed you earlier. That's the dies. What else is behind here? Plus I have the paper pumpkin for March and the 2 kits for March. So all brand new plus a bunch of the older ones. So tons of selection. 14th of June, retired product sale. We'll get more to that when it gets closer. And registration is open for the Christmas extravaganza. This is, I think, our 5th or 6th. The Christmas ones always sell out. And the registration, we're going to pick from the July stuff. So at the beginning of June, we'll have exact, this is what you get and everything. But for the most part, the registration fee, the date, that's all set. We're going to incorporate World Card Making Day. So yeah, our Christmas extravaganzas always sell out. So you start registering now. Make sure you get a spot. The early bird is the 6th of June, which is honestly 2 months away. For a set of dies if you register early. So there is incentive to do it. So lots of papers. Most of that was in my newsletter. Like I said, I'd much, much rather have the discussions in person on the 11th of April. It's a Friday night, 6:30 to 6 to 9, 6:30 to 9. I forgot what I wrote now. 6 to 9. Sorry. I wouldn't start at 6:30 because I'd never remember 6:30. I'm not sure why I even said that. 6 to 9. Yep. Anyway, so much going on. Okay, let's start making the cards. Okay. So this is the first card, and this is what it looks like. I cracked myself up. Okay. I'll give you an idea what the card looks like. Let's put this so you can't quite spoil my little. Oops, there we go. As I knock everything over. So I saw this card, and I have no idea who posted it. I don't even know if it was like a reel or just a picture I saw. I am sorry, no idea who did this. And yes, these cards look kind of similar. I tweaked this one because I was just going with all I remembered from this card, and I have no idea what she did on this panel. For all I know, it could have been white. I just really don't know. So on hers, and this is a fold I've seen before. I wish I had one. I know I've made it numerous times before, but this is a fold. Let me grab that piece. Okay. This is a fold where you take a regular card base, right? These are my landscape card bases, but for most people, this is a standard card base where you go like this. This was part of the problem too. I'm trying to do all my work, and I don't even have space on the table for my trimmer to go. And then you score, and generally I want to say it's scored at 1 or 1 1/4, and then you fold it back, right? And this is just a little fun fold. And then you have like a little reveal here, and this is how your card works, right? Well, if you do this, there we go. And I find I have a hard time keeping this piece down, so sometimes I admit I tape it down. But so this piece folds back over. So the way her card was, I have so many little samples because I was having the best little play. And she did not do wood. Hers was all done with DSP, but I wanted to try it with wood. So this is what she did. And her card was lovely. Here, let's grab it. I have extra pieces of things all over the place. So I think maybe she put her sentiment this way. But her card was like offset. And it wasn't like, if it had been offset like this, like where it was really offset, but it was offset just enough to look like she missed them, right? And like I said, it was still a lovely card. But this is going to bother me, right? I needed mine centered. So I did some math and I made it so it was centered, which is why it's got like 16ths and stuff in the measurements. But I did it like this. So this is what you get. And then I put the DSP on it. But I had to try a few things. Because when I first did it, because hers was all DSP, like her cross, the whole thing was DSP. So when I did it, I did try making it so there was no DSP at all. This is why I didn't finish the card, because I wanted to be able to put things over top. So I had it like this. And then I admit these are retired because I was trying to find palm fronds and I didn't really have them, but I knew in my set Texturas Naturales, which I still have because it's Spanish and I love Spanish, and Muchas Gracias is a great stamp set. My neighbors are from Mexico and he's a chef and he brings me food, and I need to have a Muchas Gracias to send them back. So I had it like this. Oops, just a minute, I gotta get my pieces. It's popping up on me because nothing's glued down, of course. So this is how this card was. So you could do it and just put, because I'll give you all the measurements and stuff tomorrow. There's no way I'll get them written all up tonight with all the different things. So, but I'll have them out tomorrow. So you could do it like this. So instead of using the middle measurement as DSP, you could just go like full cross. So this was much bigger. And I like it, like, other than the fact that I cut this piece a little short so you can see this poking through here. Let's do this so you don't see it poking through. Okay, so this is one option, was to make the cross more predominant and just have DSP on either side. And it is funny because this is one sheet of DSP. This is one end of it, and this is the other. And it is a little bit funny because the sky changes color. So if I was not doing the middle piece, I would have, and I did, because this one was my trial and error one that I was doing, right? And so I cut the two outside pieces first and then realized, no, I should put one in the inside instead to try it. So this one, it doesn't, but I don't even think it really matters because you're putting a cross in front of this. So I don't really think it matters, but it might matter to you if you're doing just the two outside pieces, that when you pick your DSP, maybe you don't cut like this, like maybe you just cut out of the same like this so that your sky is a little more alike and a little, but anyways, the scenery DSP, we have like 3 or 4 different ones, and there's a new one coming out that's these work so well for so many things, but these cards, they were just perfect. I thought, oh, I gotta try a different DSP. Nope, I just kept making the same one. so I had tried this. That was one option. Oops, put those all off to the side. But then I decided, no, I kind of liked a bit of the reveal. I like that look better. So that's my crooked card. This one I'm going to keep, and I will actually write all the measurements on the inside, because this one I scored like 3 different times, I think, before I got exactly into the center where I wanted it. So this one's all kind of wonky. But good practice. Okay, so this one, yeah, we decided that wasn't what I wanted to go with. The other thing I tried, though, because I was trying, and it will depend on your card base and your DSP, what colors you use. But I figured out you could also use like espresso. This is pecan pie. Espresso would work as a cross. It's a bit darker. I think this one works. And then I also thought, well, you could also, depending, and again, this would really depend on your DSP, but you could use crumb cake. It doesn't, I think it's too light on this one, personally. I think the other two work, this one doesn't. And all I did, oh, I put it off to the side. All I did was I pre-cut these measurements, and then I made sure that they were all going in the same direction of the wood grain. Just a minute, I gotta get my zoom button. I pushed my keyboard in too far. Right, so we just make sure that the wood grain is all going the same direction, because that's how they make wood. And then this one gets turned, so the grain will go the other direction. But it doesn't actually make sense to make the grain go different, like to make the grain go up and down, and this wouldn't make any sense. Okay, so yeah, this might work on some. And because all I did was I had all of these. I think the wood grain, by the way, the wood grain embossing folder is retiring. It is on the last chance list. So it is while supplies last. I won't part with mine because I love it too much. But yeah, I think I had 4 or 5 pieces going across. These are 1-inch pieces. Oh no, I guess I got 6 across. And then I put 6 more, because you can just line them all up in there and put them through. Right? So I made lots of crosses at once. So that's what we had. So I will show you how we got to this stage, and then we'll decorate. We'll finish decorating that one. I'll just start with this. So you know me. Sometimes my brain goes a little bit, I'm not quite sure why I just realized I'm not actually centered. There we go. Oops, sneak peek of some flowers. I was trying different things. I'm so impatient. This is part of my problem with the computer too. I think, oh, it's not moving fast enough, so I move it again, and then realize it just, needed a second. Why is it not? I'm making it worse instead of better. I don't know which direction I'm going. And I have a really good anti-grip mat now. Nope, definitely the wrong direction. So I can't just slide the glass over, because the feet kept coming off my glass mat. It's just me, and because I lean on it too, I think is part of the problem. And so they kept coming off. So I moved it, and now it has a piece of like what you put underneath rugs so they don't slip. And it goes from side to side to side, and this thing does not budge. Okay, I digress. I also just realized I totally got rid of my measurements because I put my phone away. So yeah, like I said, I take pictures of what I write on the board, and then I turn this into the measurements. So when I did this, I was looking at this paper, and I do, on occasion, I will overthink things. Usually I'm pretty much yeah, whatever, here we go. But in this case, I looked at this paper, and I thought, oh, look at this like peach colored sky. This would be nice with peach. So I did a card base in peach. And I was trying to think of something afterwards, because I'm like, this fold works great for other things. Like, what other thing would you put in the middle that you need centered that you could then make the same fun fold with? And my I'm like, candy cane? Because I thought there's got to be something other than a cross that this fold works for. But yeah, my brain the math did me in, I guess. So I will use this for something. I will come up with something that needs to be, it might just be a flower in the middle with, anyways. So I figured peach would work, right? But then as I'm looking at it, I'm like, is this too bright? Like, I don't know, for some reason, Easter's either bright, like nice pastel, bright colors, Easter bunnies, chicks, whatever, or it's a bit more somber when you talk about the cross. But Easter's a celebration, so maybe it could be on the bright paper. I don't know. We're gonna stick this to the bright paper just to see afterwards. But because I already scored that one, we're gonna score this one. I know I've probably lost you because I got 70 different things, like pieces. Like I said, I was having so much fun. Okay, so here's what we do. We have a regular card base, right? 8.5 by 5.5, landscape style card base. And I forgot what my number was. Okay, so because I was being very particular about getting it centered, your first score mark is 1 and 7/16. 8/16 would be half. So 1 and 7/16 is 1/16 shy. Oops, I'm on 3 for some reason. Of 1.5. Okay. So well, this is on the Stampin trimmer, but it's not an 1/8, which is 2 ticks if you speak Tamara. It's just 1/16. So one line, one very skinny line shy of the 1.5 mark. 1 and 7/16. So we're going to score there. And then we're going to score at our regular 4.25, which is where the card normally gets scored in half. Right? So we fold our card in half. We have that same little thing we want. I'm going to have to keep moving this thing back and forth and back and forth. Just a minute. I just need to not lose my DSP underneath it. There we go. So, and you're going to want to, you're going to want to give a good burnish on your folds, because fancy folds or fun folds, whichever way you call them, are lots of fun and they're great to make in the dough, but they do tend to get bulky. So you do want to score them. So then this piece that we just did, we're going to fold back. And I'm going to show you the difference if, I forgot I need my little my little inside layer I need. Remember where to write on the other one, just not this one. So this is where this is going to go. Right? I'm not even sticking it here, but I'm being very particular about centering it. So this is the difference you see, right? So on mine, I put DSP. You could, here, let's just go with, this one doesn't have any DSP on it, so it's a little bit different in the way it's going to look. But you could put DSP on this side, DSP or just a layer of cardstock even. But you could also just like stamp an image on this side. It doesn't necessarily have to be DSP. I put DSP on mine because I liked the way it looked. Right? Hers, and like I said, I'm sorry, I don't even know whose card I saw. I might eventually, if I find a picture between now and when I read up the instructions. I don't think I saved it because I couldn't find it when I was looking, but I'll give it a quick look and see if I can figure out where I saw it. Yeah, I don't remember what hers looked like. All I remember was hers was over and I wanted to center mine. And then after that, hers had DSP on it. I don't know what DSP she used. Funny enough, the second card we're going to make, the lady that made it used this exact sheet of DSP on her card. I'm using a different one on mine. And I had already picked these out. Like I made the first one with this. And so the second one, I'm like, oh, I'm going to make this one. And then I realized as I'm watching, this is the one she had picked. Okay, so we're going to use this one instead. I'm going to try this card base and see what it looks like with this color. I don't know if I have enough pieces cut, but we'll see if I have enough decorations for them. Okay, so here's what we want to do. How I did. So I didn't do it on the first one. Like I said, the first one when I did it, because I was just winging it, these pieces are not in order. When I made this one, these pieces of DSP, I cut them in order. So I'm going to show you the cut in order part, because I think for most DSPs that is going to work better. And I was trying to think afterwards, well, especially for the second one, I was trying to think, okay, what pattern of DSP could I use that wasn't scenery, like just some kind of pattern? But because of the bases I picked, I couldn't instantly recall one that went, by the way, the 2 cards I made. Just don't want to show you that yet. I don't know. I was obviously in the zone this morning because I have Cajun craze and copper clay. And so I couldn't instantly think which DSP went with them, but I will try to find one. So the other card, I'll try to find one that's not scenery DSP for you. just so you can see the difference. Oops, I'm messing my pieces up over there. Okay, so these pieces to go on our, where did my card base go? This card base is 5.5, so I want to shrink it down a little bit. You could layer this one. Like on the second one, I'm going to layer it, but I don't really think it's necessary to put layers. But if you want to put layers, then the measurements I'm giving you would be cardstock, and the DSP ones would be a 1/4 inch difference, like smaller on each side, and away you go. This is going to be 5 1/4. So the first thing I'm going to do, because we're going to use, I think, the whole sheet, if I recall correctly, or most of it anyway, is we're going to cut 3/4 inch. Why is this not? Oh yeah, it is. We're going to cut 3/4 inch off. So we're going to make this 5 1/4. Just put that off to the side. We're going to make it 5 1/4 so that I don't have to keep cutting every piece off afterwards. I might have a little bit that's left over that's short, but whatever. It's going to fit as a strip on a card somewhere else. Okay, so then the first piece we're cutting is for this back panel. Not back panel, I guess it's the left panel. And that, again, because I wanted to make everything centered, is 2 9/16. So that's one line, 1/16 past 2.5. So 2 9/16. I told my son, sorry, I just have to double check. He's letting me know the dog likes having the window open while he drives. Yeah, I don't know. I think this might be too close in color. I think I'm going to make something else with this color. And because I think this one I think it has to go back on this one. Sorry, Peach Pie. I like you, but that's not going to work. Okay. Anyways, the reason I sent my son and the dog away is because I'm expecting my pre-order and catalogs today. Oh, so exciting. Now, if you'll remember last week, something my son had ordered, like just the Amazon guy or something my son had ordered arrived, I don't know, 10 minutes into my live, and the dog lost his nut. And I had to pause and wait for him to calm down. And so I'm expecting my stuff, and it never used to come. It used to come between 5 and 6, but they've obviously changed something in the route, because now anytime after 3 I can expect my stuff. Because I'm live, I fully expect it to be now. But I said, you have to get the dog out of here so that he's not barking his head off the whole time. So I sent them away. I told them they had to stay away for an hour. Oops, just a minute, because now I just got rid of my picture. Okay, so the next one we're doing is this middle strip here, and that is 1 3/16. So that is one line short of 1 1/4. And cut that one. So this one goes in the middle. And then the one on the very end, just I guess by fluke, is 1 3/4. Oh no, I know why, because I made it easy. I decided to make one of them easy. So this one is 1 3/4. Now, keeping them in line, you could cut this way, but this end is going to be buried underneath the fold. So really, and quite honestly, if you wanted to, you could take this whole piece of paper and stick it like this. But then when you open the card up, you have less room to write. So I was making it so that it was just big enough to go underneath here. So you left as much room as possible to write. So you can decide when you're cutting it, because the little 1/4 inch or so that was going to be left over, you can decide if you want this to be the end piece or if you want to cut it like this. I like this. It looks like, because it does look like it flows, even though part of it is going to be slightly covered. So what did I say? 1 3/4. 1 3/4. That's just 1 3/4. You have to have one easy measurement. There you go. Now, the fun part is when you go to decorate the envelope, you could, instead of, you probably could put it on the stamp side too. But I like to stamp the outside of my envelopes, but you could also just put like a little sneak peek. Or you can move it over. It doesn't have to be right on the edge. And just put it like this, because you're not going to miss anything out on the sky here. So even if you put an address label or whatever, you just write over top. So you could put that little strip going up the side, or you could, I don't know, use it for something else. Take my envelope out of the way here, just a sec. Okay, so now we have our 3 pieces. Holy cow, did my trimmer get a workout today. I had to eventually, excuse me, have the hiccups. I had to eventually change the blade. There was just too much. Okay, so this is how I like to do things because I'm particular, as you may have remembered. And I like when I put this all on, I mean, nobody's perfect, right? The chances of my cuts being perfect are pretty slim, 50-50 at best. So I like my stuff to all line up once it's glued down. So what I've found is the easiest way to do it is to start with this piece, because if you start with this piece and then you go to put this piece on, whatever you have left is like a big piece on the inside, and you're going to see the biggest piece here. So if this is all cockeyed to make it work, you're going to see this whole big piece with this white on brown where it's going to be the most obvious. So I'm starting with this one because I think these ones you can blend it in a bit if you're a little wrong. What did I do with my snail? There we go. So I'm just going to put my adhesive on. The other card, I think I might actually try to put the other card together, oops, with white glue, because it's got the little 1/8 borders and they don't have nearly as much leeway in them, I guess, if you want to put it that way. Okay, this makes it a little bit easier to see what I'm doing. Okay, so this is the card, right? So I want to put this, I'm sticking my finger to it. I want to put this right on the very right end. I'm doing it sideways because I can see better. There we go. So this is going like this. So I want to line this up along the edge so that you don't see any of the white when you put it here. Now I have like, I don't even think it's 1/32. I think it's whatever's smaller than 1/32. 1/64. I have 1/64 showing through on this. So I'm going to take my handy dandy little trimmer and I am going to very carefully, without taking a big hack off of it. There we go. Oh my God, that worked out so well. I'm going to take my little 1/64, which is like a piece of thread. That's how much is left. It's like a piece of thread off, just because that I'm going to, now that once I see it once, you know, I never unsee it, right? I'm going to keep that little bit of white from peeking through and tormenting me. So now, I'll just open it like this. So now this piece, excuse me, this piece is going to go in here, right? And I don't want to see any white on this side, right? I want this to just look like a piece of cardstock. So again, what do I do? Keep moving the thing and put it like away. I'm trying to get better at putting things away. So obviously I've got my brain into the, but I'm still using it. So I think it's okay to leave it just beside me. Okay, so this one, I'm just going to get all nice and lined up and centered, because this is going to be our template really for the finger stuck to it for the rest of the card. So we want it nice and even. Okay, fold. Now we're going to put the middle strip. So oops, I'm grabbing little pieces here as I go. Now, when it came to the decorating, I don't have and there's one new Easter set. Hello, Nancy. I'm so happy to see you figured out the comments. Was that all you had to do? Was just set up an account? That's what everybody tells me, but I did mine so long ago, I have zero recollection of what I was doing. I would love to know that. And I'm so happy to see you. Okay, so I'm going to line this one up. See, because now when I'm doing this, I can line up side to side. And if you need to, it doesn't even matter what you use, but even this, right? This is my dimensionals. if when you go like this, if you can't see where the edge of it is, just stick something underneath it that shows you where it is. So I can line up my pieces like this. Yeah, so now I can see, because I want all these pieces to line up evenly. I'm thinking that way. So anyways, yes, I did not order the newest Easter set. I have some older Easter sets. And I have old punches. I don't have a lily, so I did borrow somebody's. The new one is called Faithful Collection or something like that. And I did borrow that, and I did stamp a few pieces from it just because I thought I'm going to make at least one. I don't generally make. Oh, you're watching on YouTube. Oh, well, there you go. Or sorry, I'm watching on YouTube. I don't know what I just said. Did you need to make a YouTube account so you could comment? Sorry, that was in my head. That was the question. I have no idea what I actually said out loud. I always make at least one card for my mom to give to one of her friends at Easter. So I borrowed it, but I'm also trying to use, like I said, my old set. I have the Spanish version of it, but the English version of it, it retired last year, was Natural Elements, I think it was called. Texturas Naturales. Now I'm putting this down and then but I'm not, oh, I did good. This flap, it's still just in the way. So I put it down where I think it is all lined up centered. And I can really quickly double check. And then when I realize that, yes, I am. Commenting on your phone with the cats pushing the phone button. Well, hello to the cat. I can't remember. Cheeto and your cats are adorable. Cats. My son wants a cat so badly, and I cannot convince him that because he is allergic and because cat hair gets everywhere, that it's not a good idea. Like, we have a hypoallergenic dog, but he so wants cats. Oh, I can't remember. Cheeto and somebody. Cute little kittens though. Kittens, man, that'll test you. Okay, so see how nice this looks though with the thing. It was almost, I almost was like, I don't know if I can cover it. I also just realized I don't have another pecan pie cross like I did on this one. So I guess we're going with the espresso. Because yeah, I think I like the espresso. I think this is just too light with the paper. It blends a little too much. I wanted it to pop. Okay, so we have, this is our basics, right? Our card fold was fairly easy. You wait till we get to the next one. Okay, so here's the other thing with this embossing folder. With the wood grain, the sides feel different. One is embossed and one is debossed. And when you first look at them, they look the same, but you can feel the difference. So just make sure when you're going to put it on, if you'd like it to match, that you make sure. So both of mine, I have the debossed side up because that's the side I prefer. And make sure you're putting glue on the back side of like the same thing. So is it the end of the world? No. Is wood exactly perfect? No. But if, we're making cards and sometimes we're picky. Oh, and I made the mistake. This is why I make two of things. Because I almost did the same thing when I made this earlier. Have anybody figured out what I did wrong yet? That's what I get for talking. Okay, so this one, our bigger, longer piece, we're going to put in here. And I'm just going to center it. So you don't really see a lot of this, but you see enough of it that I wanted it to match. Right. So who knows what Tracey did wrong because she was too busy talking and not paying attention. What I did wrong was I put glue the entire width of this piece. So if I stick this piece down like this, basically what I'm going to do is glue my card shut. And after all of the work to line up the paper and make it all pretty, that is not what we are going for. So luckily I had a second one. Yeah, I think I'm just going to fold this in half so it doesn't stick to everything in tarnation here, and put it in my recycle bin. This one, there's something sticking there. This one is going to go here. You just want adhesive in the middle so that you do not glue your card shut. I gotta make sure I get the debossed. Okay, make sure I get the right side. So I'm just going to put a little bit. I'm eyeballing where the middle is. You have a bit of leeway on this one. Like you got about an inch in the middle that you can, around an inch and a quarter maybe, that you can hit. So you're good. And then I'm just going to try to line this up so it's not, some cockeyed looking thing. Is there a right or a wrong? I have no idea. Can't really say I'm not familiar. Okay. So yeah, my adhesive, oops, as I knock it crooked after all that trouble to straighten it. There we go. Yeah, so my adhesive is just in the middle here, right? Just in there. And I mean, if the adhesive went out to here, it wouldn't be a problem. You just don't want to go past this point. Otherwise, like I said, you will glue your card shut. So, oh, I do. See, now the question is, which one wears it better? The pecan pie or the early espresso? Okay, I have like 7,000 of these fronds left over from something else. So I will just finish decorating this one just so we can see one finished card. So I'm just going to put, because I'm going to cover this with a few things, I'm just going to put a bit of seal, whatever this stuff is, in the middle. Stick my ends into it. Put this one going down a little bit. And then, so these are from the, okay, I'll have to figure out. Faithfully? I can't remember what it's called. I have too many things going on. I'm not sure I can look it up at the same time. I have 3 devices though. So, you know me, I do so well at multitasking. I should have 3 things going at once. Where's the Stampin' Up logo? Stampin' Up. Where is my Stampin' Up one? There we go. For some reason, my shortcut on my iPad stopped working. Kept just taking me to an error message. So I'm going to go Faith. And then I'm just going to search because there's not that many things that start with the word faith in there. It is called the Faith Collection. There we go. So these little lilies I've pre-stamped and just fussy cut. Yeah, that's right. I can't hold my hand still enough to make them focus, but you'll see. So I got the little group of 2 to make sure they're going the right direction. Right like that. And then there's a single one that I just put on some dimensionals. I had this all planned out. I just didn't want to put it together because I didn't have time to make several copies of it. Wanted to be able to show you. So I like things in 3s. That's my thing. So I made sure I had 3 little lilies in the middle. I did go to 12 years of Catholic school, but I quite honestly do not exactly remember the Easter story. I just know that lilies go with Easter. I do remember Palm Sunday, hence the palm fronds. But so I rolled up a little glue dot. I'm going to stick there. And then my favorite of all the embellishments is linen thread. Absolute favorite, hands down. And then He Is Risen also comes from the Faith Collection bundle. So this stamp set has some crosses and some sentiments and some palm fronds that you can do in a real cool background. Oops. Put my lily in the wrong spot. I had this laid out. And of course I stuck the dimensionals in the adhesive. So same thing, if you decide you're going to put this down here, make sure you only put adhesive on this part. Don't put adhesive the whole way across, because if you do that, again, you're gluing your card. I was just putting it on the end of here. There we go. I should have done that first. I dropped my lily on the floor. Luckily, it landed dimensionals up because I peeled the backs off of them. Okay, so if I had done that right the first time, there we go. Oops, I'm covering up the H. Then I'll sound British. E is risen. There we go. So that's what I ended up with. Ta-da! And it's just a little fun fold. Oh. So I was thinking, okay, so if you don't have, I have just a bit of brown peeking through there that I don't want. There we go. Doesn't that turn out cool though? And it is, I mean, it's not a super complex fun fold. It's just that extra little bit that, I love it. Love it. There are other flowers I was trying. These ones, they just seem too, comical is not the right word, cartoonish. They're just a little too happy. They're not the right ones I was looking for. Because I was trying to figure out which other ones could be used if you don't have a lily stamp set. And I think one of the other ones, well, I put all my treats away. This was one of the ones I used. This is the, I want to say Park Lane. It was the bundle. This one is very large. If you just wanted to put like one flower in the middle, this one fits quite well. This one has some smaller ones in it too. This one is also, I know all these things as of last night, so I don't remember all of them, but some of them I do. This is Park Lane, is what this bundle was called. And this punch, there was when it first came out, it was this mega sweet. It had two bundles. Sorry, that's probably super loud. It had 2 bundles. One of the bundles, the other one was sentimental something. One of the bundles retired, but this one stayed, but now this one is retiring. So it's a great punch. This one has 3 different size flowers on it and a leaf. And it's just a great, I use these flowers all the time. And sorry, that's me putting my punch somewhere unsecure and it falling. There we go. I was going to say insecure, but that doesn't seem right either. Oh my God, it's 1:45. Anyways, I think you could do something like this. If you could figure out a fun fold, I don't know. I'll come up with something to decorate that with. Right now, we have one and it's awesome. Okay, card number 2. I don't think we're going to get to card number 3 because I just noticed what time it is. Card number 2, I'm going to try to give you enough stuff. I'll give you all the measurements tomorrow because, like I said, they're just on my phone. I pre-cut everything though. So we should have it. I don't think, I just need the one set of measurements. So I got to open my thing so I get the one set of measurements. Okay. So this other one, I have to show you in parts because I don't want to totally ruin the surprise. We're going to start, and this one was done by Queen Bee Creations, and I did watch her video, and I'm glad I did because one, that I had to get the measurements, but also the little tip at the end of how to fold this card is genius. So I have, okay, well here I got to move a few things around. So this is what we have, and there's a bit of coincidence here that was like unplanned. So I have these 2 pieces, and I have these 2 pieces, and I have these 3 pieces, just to give you an idea. Seriously, when I said my math, the head almost, sorry, see, it's been one of those days. The math almost made my head explode. This is why. Because not only did I do this, I also did it wrong and had to fix it on every single cut afterwards. So yeah, that's part of the fun. That would be my phone hitting the floor. And I got those 3 pieces. So this is how many pieces. Sorry, these were from the other card, just to make it seem so much better. So this is how many pieces you need to make this card. But I'm going to tell you, it's going to be worth it. So the first piece we're going to do, and I'm just going to show you, because I already prepped it. I'm just going to show you what we're doing. So when you see the measurements, you know, like the gist of it. And then I got a couple more cuts to make on that other one, and then I'll put the thing together. So this is an 8.5 by 11 that I cut in half, right? So this is 8.5, excuse me, 8.5, and this is now 5.5. What you need to do though is cut 1/8 of an inch off the end of this so that it fits in the envelope better, right? Otherwise it's kind of tight because this card gets a little thick by the time we're done. Totally worth it though. Okay, so UPS didn't come, but America's home with the dog 10 minutes early. So let's just see how it, let's see what the timing is. Are they going to walk in the door and then the guy's going to show up 2 seconds afterwards? Let's see. Okay, so so we cut off the one piece, just 1/8. You'll be happy to know I will give you all these measurements so you don't actually have to try to remember all that. So that makes this piece 8 3/8. So that is 2 ticks shy of 8.5 by 5.5. Then you're going to score like 4 different lines on here. You can't see the lines, and I want to keep this card flat right now. But we're going to score 4 different lines. Again, I told you I love this, right? This glass mat. So this is the idea. We have this card, and we have 2 outside panels, and then we have 3 like skinnier panels. And basically what I need to do is I need to make some cuts right here between these 2 score lines. And I need to cut on 3 sides of this box. Okay. I feel like a teacher. I'll show you on the board. So this is where the Stampin' trimmer comes in very handy. We're just going to get the scoring thing out of the way. So, and I don't think there's any easy way to show you this. I don't think any cardstock is going to show you the score lines well enough to show you. I guess that's what I mean. Okay, so what I need to do, because I've lost my measurement now. You know why? Because I took a picture, but it's too small for me to read. There we go. So here's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to go at 1 3/8. What was that? 1 2 3/8. 1 3/8. And we want to cut. And I have to do this with my trimmer because I can't see. So we're going to take our blade. I'm holding my blade up so it's not touching. And as soon as I get to the first score line, I'm going to push it down, and I'm going to keep it so that there's a little mark right here on the edge of your score, if you haven't noticed. And I'm going to cut just between this line and this line. Then I'm going to skip a line. So I'm lifting my blade up, and I'm still holding the white part down or the clear part with my thumb, but you can pull the blade up just enough that it's not actually touching the paper. And then I'm going to go to the next score line. That guy's in my way. So now I've got a set of score lines that go like this. I'm going to go to the start of it. I'm going to push my blade down, and I'm going to cut to the next one. Okay. So now you can see just a bit of I figured out Zoom. I figure I have to use Zoom more often because I figured it out. There's one little cut, and there's one little cut, and you can see it's between the two score lines. Can I make the two score lines show up? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to do that again. So here's another thing. This thing keeps getting in my way, so I'm just going to pop this out temporarily because then it won't stop bothering me. Okay, so then the next one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go to 2 3/4. And I'm going to put my little cage down. I'm going to pull up on this. Like I said, I'm pulling up on the blade. Sorry, I got to tip it again. I'm trying to tip it and hold it in frame. And I'm going to go to the first score line. And I'm going to guess because now I put it flat again. I can't see. I can put it up there. I'm going to lift this up again. I'm going to go back to where I was. Score line to score line. I figure if you're doing this, err on the side of a little short. Although on the first one I made, I cut it a little bit too far in a couple of them, and you can't even tell. So now what we have, oh, see this one I'm off by a bit here. But where my sticks go? I can just go with my, I'll do it afterwards because one more thing will make it easier. But I have these, sorry, I forgot I was zoomed in. I got to move it. I got to lean it up. So I have these two. Now I have like a pass through. Now what I want to do is I want to cut just the outside of either one. Okay. So same thing. You're going to put your score line in. Oops, let's do it where you can actually see. You can see, I can't. We're going to put our score line in the groove. Close our little cage, and we're going to do the same thing. And we're going to go right back to where we. So now we're scoring, or now we're cutting. Oh my goodness, I did good on that one. So this was the first two lines I did. And I did this one. So now, if I did it right, it should pop through. And I obviously have just like the tiniest little bit. So I'm just going to give it a little snip here because I have a little bit I missed on either side. But I really didn't want to go like all the way down the edge and make a big mark. So, okay. So now what we've done basically is we've freed a little flap. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Put the score line in. Line up this line with the, and up to the second one. Oh, doing better on the verticals than the horizontals. Okay, so I think I've cut enough with my trimmer for today. I should give it a break. So this one I've got just about all the way. I was a little bit short. Okay, so now what we've done is we've made these two flaps. Now I would have a look at them, and in this case, it's this one. Just fold those out of the way and just give them a little trim. This is what I was supposed to cut. I folded it before I did, so I made it a little rough. But and just give, if you need to, just kind of clean it up a little bit if you have to. You kind of want to cut right down the middle of the score line, but sometimes depending how you get it, like this one's just a little rough on the edge. You don't really want the score line on the very edge because it's, you know, not as attractive. You kind of wanted to leave the score line on the big piece. So I got to move this back where it was. Anyways, so we freed these little flaps. So what we did is we took our card, we scored 4 lines, and then we cut out these 2 little squares. Okay. And then through the magic of television, we folded it all, ta-da, and we got a cross. Ta-da. Right? That's what we ended up with. So we take our first one and we fold it back on itself. Then we fold it this way. And we do the same on the other side. And we end up the cross. Ta-da! So the one thing I will show you in the video, we're going to put this all together in the video because I'm looking at this and I'm like, now how the hell do I get this in an envelope? Because I went like this, but they don't, like they hit, right? It stands up beautifully though. That's the like the ooh of it. So I went like this and I'm like, it doesn't work. So what happens is you can fold it like this. Now we haven't put all the layers on yet. So it is a very thick card. Right? And by the time we have the layers on, it's thick. It will fit in an envelope, but it's probably going to be the extra postage because you've made it so thick. Right? And this is why we took a little bit off at the beginning, is because this is how wide this cross is, right? If we hadn't taken the 1/8 off, it would have been right to there. By the time we add the bulk to it, it'd be tricky to get it in the envelope. So here's what the queen bee, who's, I know I've heard her name before, but I'm not sure if I've ever watched a video before, but she's obviously a genius because what she said was, when you put it in your envelope, fold it like this. Because isn't it cool, Nancy? I was so impressed with this. I'm like, oh my God. I didn't realize she had the little pop-ups on it. So this is how she said to put it in. And so this is here. We'll show you the back a little bit. So this is how she decorated the back. She had one side where she just put the white paper. So you could write on it. I layered mine with white. I like a white layer sometimes. And this is just what seemed to work with this. I stared at it and tried many. You know what, Nancy? I think what I do with my piece of paper, this card gives you the same effect. But I think in the case of this one, because I'm looking at her measurements and she doesn't cut anything out, I think she does the same, like all the stripes, but instead of making the fancy pop-up part, she just puts a piece across, right? She just cuts an extra little strip that goes across. So I think you get the same, like it pops up, you'll get the exact same silhouette, I guess, if that's the right word, but you don't have to do the one inside step. You can just put a strip across. But yeah, these are wow cards, right? So, and on the back side of hers, she had one of them, she had layered a piece of DSP. So when you pull your card out of the envelope, we're doing this for a reason. I'm giving you the whole, put it in the envelope, which is the last step, for a reason. And sometimes my train of thought is hard to follow, even for me, but there is a point. Okay, so this is how she had hers decorated, right? And she said, just fold it this way. So this would be what you saw. And she said the natural inclination, like when somebody gets this in the mail, you know they're going to, here, I have to put these down because they're not glued. You know they're going to open the card. And I think this card naturally, when you open it, you're going to realize where it goes. Oh, and my card is cooperating so well. See this one, how nicely it popped up? This one is kind of stuck. So the one thing you want to do before you start putting all your layers on is just make sure that this doesn't get stuck. Because I think this is definitely the way to package it. But when you open it, you want them to freely pop up. So the person who gets it goes, oh my goodness, look at that. Right? So you could use your scissors, but I can tell you, when it comes to trimming something like this with my scissors, I'm horrible at it. And it's only catching one area. So it's obviously just not super straight. So I'm just going to put this on my little trimmer. And I'm going to take, again, like 1/64th off, just enough so that when I fold it like this and I open it, it naturally opens like this. Okay. Now what I did with mine is I folded it up the way I was supposed to, and I burnished it as it was folded like this. However you want to do it, I just did it all at once, but you want to burnish this and give them a good burnish before you go. What time are we at? Ooh, we're at 3:59. Okay, can you bear with me for, I don't know, 5-10 more minutes and I'll finish this card. I'll show you how it all comes together. Okay, first off, I'm just going to move that little thing out of my way before I stick my hand in it. I was going to use glue, but glue is just going to slow me down. Okay, so the one thing we want to do, and I don't have it out. So we want to make a layer of DSP on the background here. So what we want, and this card is layered, and she did it with layers. You don't have to. You could, when you get the measurements tomorrow, the layer, the biggest layer, like which in this case is the white cardstock. If you chose to just put just straight DSP, then just cut your DSP that layer and forget about the smaller one. Okay, so what we want is we want to put DSP like this. Okay, the cross is going to be different. And the cross is, like I said, the cross is so fluky, it's not even funny. So, and this is, I'll show you in a second here, Nancy, but this is what I mean. I think you could do it without the extra cut and it would be a lot easier for the kids. Because if memory serves me, you are at an elementary school. And so I'm not sure if they have I don't know if it's the skill or if it's the patience or whatever to do the little fine details with the trimmer. Sometimes I wonder if I do. Okay, so this is what we want, like this. But we have these two little pieces that we need to cut out. So I will, like I said, I'll give you all these measurements. So what we end up with for these pieces is we end up with our layers like this. But we need to trim this. My phone just shut off again. Right? So we need to put this, so we need to cut these pieces. So what you want to do with this one, because I do not have the measurements memorized. Oops, I'm zoomed in a little too much. What is this piece? This piece is 2 3/8. I just gotta make sure I'm looking at the right section of, oh, there we go. 2 5/8. Okay, so this one needs to be I don't have enough pieces of this. I have to make sure because I made this cut wrong. Why am I looking at the wrong one here? 2 1/8. So we're going to cut the bottom piece. Sorry, I just realized my measurements on my sheet are not correct. 2 1/4. So we're going to cut the bottom piece off the bottom, coincidentally. Then you need to make sure when you go to put the top piece that you have the orientation of your cardstock. You want to make sure you're cutting your piece off the top. This little middle piece is going to be gone. But you want it to do that so that all your continuity is there for your sky. So this one is 1 1/8. And it's just a matter of making sure you turn the DSP and cutting off the right end. So this will make more sense when I put it together. Right, so this is how we want it, because we want the sky to keep going. And we want this little chunk, oops, sorry, got that a little too high for you. You want this chunk that was in the middle is the part that we cut out. So you want to cut the bottom piece off, and you want to cut the top piece off and leave the middle piece out. Okay, so I'm going to do that again for the other one. That's this one. I don't know if I'm going to be able to rush fast enough to glue all. I don't want to rush and screw it up because there's a lot of cutting of all these pieces. So I'm just going to go over by a little so I don't screw up. So again, cut the top, cut the bottom, leave the middle piece for another project or to decorate the envelope or something. So now we're going to glue all these pieces down, and then I've made a mat for the middle as well, and I've made a mat that goes across like this. So this is what I meant, Nancy. If because you're going to cut these pieces anyways, instead of going and cutting these little squares out, you could just leave this strip whole. And I would say if you're doing it with the kids, maybe you have less layers. So maybe you just have like the 4 strips of DSP, which you could put the full thing on. And then when you put this one across, it just comes up on its own. It's just not glued. It's just glued in the middle like the first card. And then you wouldn't have to do the fancy cutout part. But in this case, we're going to do the fancy cutout part. So we have this. Now, the funny part is you just take your DSP and flip it over. Some of my kids are so advanced while the others are not. It's elementary, but it could possibly cut the 2 squares and they could just decorate the cross. Ooh, absolutely. The prep work would definitely make it easier. You have 31 kids. Woo! But yeah, this one is definitely an easier way to do it because then it's all just strips, right? There's no little tiny pieces and this goes in this order. It's just strips, right? So if you made it that way, which I'm pretty sure is how that other card comes together. So yeah, this one, you just take your DSP, and for the cross, you just flip the DSP over. Well, what is the convenient, like, because I totally picked this based on the front of it. I was trying to get ones that didn't have really big trees because in my brain that is, like I said, high school was a very long time ago. The last time I took a religion class. I'm thinking desert. So I was trying to get one that had desert foliage, which is why the first one had like desert colors to me. So this one I was just trying to find short stuff. I couldn't quite get it, but anyway, so that's what I picked it on based on the front. I turned it over, and lo and behold, if it isn't pretty much wood grain on the back. So if your DSP does not coordinate, like it doesn't help you out by putting the back on, then just pick a different one. But you just basically want it to be a different color. But this one is DSP and not wood grain. But look at how well that works. Ta-da! Right? So you glue all the pieces together. And then again, you just need to decorate it. I will show you because this is This, I have used this thing so many times. This is the February paper pumpkin kit. And it's called Hello Spring. And so there's this really cute Hello Spring in there. What does that say? Thanks for helping me grow. It's got all the garden stuff that I love. But there's this tiny little Happy Easter in it. Well, Lord knows I have used that Happy Easter more than any other stamp set in this package, but also more than a lot of other stamp sets that I bought like the entire stamp set of. Just gonna need some ink, copper clay. I'm just gonna go with the same color that's on the back there. You could do the same thing. You could put lilies or whatever. I actually haven't, at this point, once I figured out how she had done it, I was so busy cutting pieces at this point, I don't actually know how she decorated hers. But on this one that I found after I had done all the other pieces, she just put a little circle and some ribbon. And so I thought, well, hey, that works for me. So you could just put a nice, simple little Happy Easter in the middle of the cross. If you're me and you have 87 of these things pre-cut from a leftover from a different project, you could just put it like this, right? Ta-da! So that's how this card is going to end up. But since I'm already 10 minutes over and I haven't even glued it down, I'm going to glue it down afterwards and then take pictures. And yeah, it folds into this awesome cross. It's just fantastic. So this was Queen Bee. And yeah, it was fantastic. I will make this card, and then I'm going to make another version with just the strips and those measurements. So all of these measurements and everything I should have posted for you for tomorrow. I have some stuff I got to do tonight, so I can't quite get to them today. But yeah, I'll have 3 different versions of the card. I'm going to look at this one and just kind of see what she did differently and see if it's, I have a feeling, because this card's only 7, like the base is only 7 by 3.5, that this one might be where you can just tuck the back under and put it in an envelope flat. So I'll try this one out, and then I'll try one of these with just strips. So you'll have lots of options to choose from. And Nancy, I hope it works. And if your kids make it, I would love to see finished products, because oh my God, it is so much fun to craft with kids. They make the best things. So, okay. Oh, this was the other one. There is a stamp set called, I think it's called Twisted Trees, that came out in the online exclusives not very long ago. And it is one of those sets that just, I looked at it and I'm like, well, this set is just, you know, it's an all-purpose set. It's got a tree in it that, yes, you guessed it, is kind of twisted. And it looks to me, if you made it out of black, it would be a Halloween tree, right? It's like a really, I don't know, creepy Halloween, not creepy in a bad way, but Halloween tree. And then there's some nice little sentiments in it. And then for whatever reason, there's this really pretty Happy Easter. It's not really pretty. It's just really nice, clean, capital. Like, I just love this Happy Easter. So you could also put like a Happy Easter on it. If you have teeny tiny greetings or itty bitty greetings, there's also one that has, but I still have all the old ones. This one says Easter blessings. So if you have one of those old stamp sets, that would also work. And again, you could put flowers on here. I did stamp some of the lilies in gray, so that would work better on this one. But I think I'm just going to go with the circle and the fronds like that. And I'll put it all together and send you some pictures. Alrighty? Okay, I'm way over. Got to go. Thank you very much, Nancy. It was lovely having you there and commenting. I so appreciate that. I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday, and I will be back later in the week with goodness knows what, because I'm having so much fun playing with these things right now. Okay, thanks everyone. Bye, Nance.